Hello, welcome to another game review here on my channel. Today going to look at another linear game and sadly a little bit shorter game as well. Murdered Soul Suspect for the PlayStation 4. Yes indeed. Released by Square Enix, is released on last generation and this generation's consoles and PC. This is a linear game with only story and some, if you call it open world, I just call it restricted open world. Sadly, I think I have broken this case. Anyway, the storyline is basically you play, if I can remember correctly, his name, Ronan O'Connor, when he is trying to solve his own case, basically, because he were murdered when he ran into a party and tried to save a girl, and this bad guy throwing out a window and he dies. Yes, and now he's trying to find out how he died and who actually killed him. He knows how he was killed, but who it was and why he was killed, basically. In this game you will see this city called Salem, I think it was, yes, that have in the history have witch hunting and killing and the basic thing about that. And during this game storyline we see parts of that when it comes to ghosts that have been victims of this, and well, the main villain basically, which in my opinion was a letdown. Anyway, when it comes to this game, there are a detective game. Basically, you are looking around trying to solve puzzles, clues and everything, and trying to put everything together to find out what actually happened on that scene, or whatever happened to yourself or the killed victim. There are some places you will go look at. It's basically cemetery, museum, mental hospital, church. If I remember correctly, I think those was it. Anyway, a house, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a doomsday house or anything. This is basically a thriller horror game, but the only place that really got me the chills were actually the mental hospital. That got a little bit scary, or thrilling, I don't know. This game is kinda dark and it isn't that scary overall, but yeah. When it comes to the storyline, you will get help from a little girl and it's trying to solve everything. She haven't lost her mother, but her mother is basically gone at this stage in game. You will never see her, you will only hear her name and find some collectibles surrounding her. Yes indeed. On their journey, you basically you're on the reason this girl can actually see Ronan is basically because she's a medium, and mediums are the only persons in the human world that can actually see these ghosts. That is basically in limbo, you basically will call it, between the living and dead world. When it comes to actually gameplay, as I said, you are trying to solve clues and everything. The other part of this game is that you are trying to kill this, if you have seen Harry Potter, Dementor looking demons, which is kinda easy but kinda scary when you doesn't succeed at the first try and you just need to flee from them. which is kind of funny sometimes. The gameplay, in my opinion, is kind of weak because it doesn't give you a lot to work with, because they give you some fun parts when it comes to actually puzzle solving and maybe first 3 kills of these demons, but these demons are the only big monster you will fight, which is kinda a letdown in my opinion. They're gonna give you a little bit more foes to fight, and because when it comes to actually for showing off the villain in the end when solving that, which were I think her name was Abigail or something like that. It was a little girl that was killed by town because everyone thought she was a witch, which she, I think, turned out to be. She had, this is spoilery, as very spoilery, so if you don't want to watch, jump ahead or quit. She has been taking over human bodies to do her biddings when it comes to actually killing mediums, and well, I think it was on mediums she killed. Which in the end, Ronan actually finds out she used him once, and he was killed because she actually kills off everyone she have used in the killings. And in the end, you fight the police officer that basically is Ronan's wife's brother, and Abigail, or what her name is killed because she's dragged down to hell. And that is basically the game. This storyline is okay. Not the best one, not the worst one. If they would have given you a little bit more to watch or play with, or give you a little bit more interesting backstories, it could have been a little bit more. It could have been a lot better storyline in my opinion. What we got is basically just okay storyline that gives you basically nothing to work with. When it comes to graphics, environments and the world in general, it is okay for next gen consoles. It isn't the best looking world, but it is just decent. The interesting part when it comes to this world is that you actually see ghost parts of the old Salem, basically, if you know what I mean. Houses that isn't there in the real world will basically come up as ghost houses, which is somewhat interesting, and I really like that idea. But that basically gives you some restrictions in this so-called open world. This game is basically an open world, if you could call it that. You can't do that much in it, but it is basically collect a lot of collectibles, which is half of this game basically when it comes to gameplay. And the other half is basically solve 4 side missions or cases. Yes, only 4. That is, you can basically finish them in less than 5, or if you really having a struggle, maybe 10 minutes, which is kinda sad and a big letdown. I really wanted this game because I really liked Eleanor, and I thought, well, a detective game that actually seems a little bit interesting when it comes to ghosts and everything. Why not? And it was a big letdown when it comes to actually length and everything. The overall length, if you don't collect anything, is basically 4 to 5 hours in my experience. Overall, if you're trying to collect anything, it is basically, you can come up to 12 hours maybe, and that is kinda a big letdown, that you have to actually collect everything, and that you have to do the 4 side missions to get out 12 hours out of an open world game. This stages the stages I talked about, that was the museum and everything, they are closed off basically in general. because you can walk into them, but you are leaving the town and you're going into a story-driven part of the game. So after you have completed that part, you can go back into it, but it is kind of big stages sometimes, and going around and finding collectibles isn't fun, so I basically didn't do that. And yeah, gameplay, let's end it. The overall opinion and rating for this game will be a 5.8 out of 10. This game could have been a lot more fun and interesting if they would have given you a little bit more story to work with and a little bit more interesting gameplay and monsters to fight and do. The story is decent in my opinion, and sometimes when you collect the collectibles you get some ghost stars and everything. That is kind of interesting, but it doesn't give you the most satisfaction that I would have wanted from this game. The gameplay, as I said, isn't that interesting. Sometimes it is repetitive. If they could have given you a little bit more to work with and play with, it could have been a little bit more fun to actually play it. They only have one monster, as I said, and that is kinda lazy in my opinion. They could have done a little bit more to it. And the final boss was a big letdown in my opinion. That's all for today, folks. Hope to see you next time. Bye.